Hello, world! So today I kind of wanted to wrap up a few things, kind of go back to a few things that I talked about this week, and then I'll go into the story on my spirit guide and how my spirit guide introduced self to me and the story and journey that we have been on together. First off, I know some of y'all don't know who Hel is. Hel, daughter of Loki in many cases. This is Hel. Isn't she beautiful? Again, guardian of the underworld in some cases. Another thing I did not mention yesterday when I was talking about my journey into the different religions and churches that I got to go to. One church that I got to do when I was junior high, absolutely loved the church. It ended up closing because the pastor ended up, he had AIDS and had passed away, so the church ended up closing. It was a wonderful church. Everybody was very, very well accepted. It taught a lot. It didn't go into the Bible teachings so much as it taught the Christ consciousness teachings. And the name of the church was actually The Science of Mind. And it was based off of a lot of the teachings of Ernest Holmes talks about. I wouldn't say they by any means are Ernest Holmes' teachings. They were, because he actually goes more in depth in the Christ consciousness, the ideal of that, even to the point of, it becomes the metaphysical ideal of things. So I guess including the religions and, of course, philosophies, ways of life, I do dabble in the metaphysical ideals of things as well and learning those things. Yeah, so that's all the kind of catching up that I wanted to do at this time. So my spirit guide, once upon a time, it was one of those times that my mother put me to bed, tucked me in to go to sleep. She had the TV on, unknown if she was actually in her room or if she had gone off to do her thing for the night, as she would do sometimes. But I had been laying in bed, and I kind of would watch the colors or the light on the ceiling from the TV. Sometimes it would keep me, in a sense, entertained. And I think I was actually kind of sleeping. I'm not sure. I was quite young at the time. And I woke up, or I wasn't sleeping. Maybe I was watching the lights on the ceiling, however it might have been. And I happened to look directly at my door, and there was an Indian chief standing there. He was probably no more than 3-4 feet tall, because of course I was a little girl, and my spirit guide was basically letting me know that I wasn't alone, that I was being watched out for, that there was a presence that was taking care of me. Beautiful, beautiful Indian chief. Again, little person because of the fact that I was not very old myself at the time. And I remember looking and seeing, and it was very, very clearly there. I knew very well that it was there and that it was very real and there. But it was also one of those things I'm kind of looking at it going, you're not supposed to be there. One of those things, even as a child, I knew that if I were to tell people this, they're going to think I'm crazy, or I have imaginary friends or something like that. Something along those lines, because not all people believe in those sorts of things. And so I kind of looked, again, I knew very well it was there. I knew the presence was there. I knew it was, because it wasn't like I could see through it by any means. It was very clearly, very really there. And I wasn't scared. I was not afraid at all. About the only thing I was a little nervous about was people calling me crazy, in a sense, I guess, to a point. Even though that wasn't even a thing in my mind at that point when I was younger. But I knew if I said something, people wouldn't believe me, especially during that time. And so I just kind of looking at it, and I just okay, you're there, but you're not supposed to be there. And so I closed my eyes and I put the blankets over my head. Just kind of, that was my thought. You're not supposed to be there. And I opened my eyes, and of course it was gone, and ended up back in dreamland or whatever at that point. Not really sure how to go on that part. Well, fast forward into age of 19. Yeah, it would have been about age of 19, right after my 19th birthday. My spirit guide and I actually took a journey together, and he kind of allowed me to understand the presence that we had together in a past life. Past lives, rather, I should say, in so many ways. At one point I was a daughter. One point we were together. He was my my husband and different ways of being and how he was there in my life in the past and such like that. And so we got to go through that whole journey of things through a moment in time when I was 19. Ended up shortly thereafter, ended up in the hospital anyway, but that was then, and still thought that was a very, very neat moment that of time to go through and be able to hear that journey and be able to see and feel that journey. Some people would call it like a vision quest in a sense, what I was going through at that point to kind of get to know my spirit guide and the reason why we were attached together. And then fun part was, for me anyway, was after I got out of the hospital and such, it was about that time too that I had done the Wiccan church for a little bit, very small point and such like that. But I had met somebody, a friend of mine. She was, I call her a wise woman. She was a witch, and just amazing person. She was a very big part of my life during that time, helping guiding me. She was a teacher of sorts, and we actually worked together. Her daughter, she had daughters my age, and I was really good friends with the daughter that was exactly my age, and that daughter had a daughter named Jessica as well. So, I mean, why weren't we going to be friends? But in getting to know each other and such, even she saw him, and of course he appeared very, very large and very, very great in size with her, because she's all, do you know? And I'm all like, yeah, I have an Indian chief that follows me. He's not that scary. She's looking at him. Yeah, he kind of is, because of course he's appearing very, very big and very large to her. I was just a little girl when he first showed the presence to me. So he didn't make himself large. He had no reason to make himself large, but he was making sure to let her know that I was protected. And then I would go to psychic fairs from time to time, and every once in a while one of the psychics would stop me and they're like, did you know? And I'm like, oh, you see him, huh? Yeah. And you could just tell by the look in their face if they had some sort of a fear or how he had presented himself. And in some ways, that's how I've always been able to tell if somebody was a true psychic or not, because if they could see him or not see him, if you can't see him, you're probably not truly a psychic in the way that you are saying that you are. There's probably a really good chance that you are intuitive, yes. You might be able to feel certain energies, yes, but a true psychic, probably not. But anyway, that is a little bit on my story of my spirit guide and our journey together. So I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Have fun, be safe, and get healthy.